the link on the website as well. Also coming up is an inversions workshop with Lisa. Everybody's been asking for tips and tricks and wonderful things. How do I get upside down and keep my stability there? Well, here's your opportunity to lay the groundwork. March 4th, it's a Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. And whether you are an expert at getting upside down or you've never done it before, there's something in it for everyone. I went to my first inversions workshop years ago, pre-COVID. And at that point, I was scared to even think about getting upside down. I was scared to go to the workshop. But I learned how to fall properly. And that's the thing I took away. And it made me a better learner because I was no longer scared to get upside down because I knew that when I crashed, I wasn't going to break my face. So if that sounds like you, join me. I will be there March 4th, 2 to 4 p.m. It's $40 for the workshop, and I would love to see all your faces there. In the meantime, let's do the thing. 60 minutes of journey into power. We'll start in wide-kneed child's pose. As you set up here, let your head rest down onto the floor. You might even take your head side to side, roll out the forehead. Any tension that's hiding right between your eyebrows, that space where we never seem to let go, see if you can let that soften right here. And we'll start to gather our tools. Set your drishti, your focus, on one spot. That would be your mat right here, right in front of your face. Take a look at the texture. And then start to create your breath. Fill up all the way, get to the pause and linger there for a moment. And then empty out completely until there's no air left and linger on empty for a moment. And then we'll continue building in that way with all four parts, the full inhale, the pause, the full exhale, and the pause. Create your exhales here as something that you can hear, a sound that's going to keep bringing you and your yogi neighbors back to the present moment. Take another full breath in, empty it out, downward facing dog. Bend your knees one and then the other, stretch your toes. Take whatever movement you need to get ready to move. And then I'm going to add some little assisting cards at the top of your mat. This is just going to let me know if you're interested in hands-on assists or not. You can choose yes or no as many times throughout the class as you'd like. Continue moving here, creating whatever you need to get all the snaps, the crackles, the pops. Get them out here. On your next inhale, lift your heels all the way to the ceiling. Lower them down toward the floor on your exhale. 2 more just like that. Fill up, lift up, and empty. Last one, fill. Empty completely. Walk your feet to your hands. Ragdoll at the top of your mat. Pull your belly button in towards your spine and create a big C-shaped curve. If you can imagine kind of where your belly button would land if it were on your back, that's where the apex of that curve is. So right underneath of your ribs, that space between your ribs and the bottom of your low back, see if you can create a pelvic tilt in your body that's going to allow you to really feel that area of the back stretch, come alive. And you might even sway side to side once you find that space. Open it up, see what is there to be had. On your next inhale, rise all the way to stand, extended mountain at the top of your mat. Reach up, look up, hands at heart center. We'll get started tonight with one Om together. We're going to fill up completely and then empty all the way out. So fill up. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, step or hop back, high plank to low, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths together in and out. 2 more, fill up and empty. Last one in, empty completely. Move your feet to your hands, halfway lift, fold, extended mountain. Fold, halfway lift, chaturanga. Match the breath with your movement. Up dog, down dog. 3 breaths in and out. In and empty. Last one, fill up all the way. Empty completely. Feet to your hands, half lift. Fold. Extended mountain, press down through your feet, reach through your fingers, fold, half lift, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, breath in and empty. Lift your hips all the way up, bend your knees a little bit. Last one in, lift, bend your knees a lot. Step or jump, halfway lift, fold, chair pose, sit low, reach high, fold, half lift, chaturanga. With your breath, stay for the pause, then up dog, down dog, right side warrior 1. Inhale to rise, chaturanga on your exhale, upward facing, down dog, left side warrior 1. Inhale, reach, chaturanga on your exhale. Up dog, down dog. Love it. Yeah, you're moving with your breath. Allow that to be slightly different than your neighbors, probably different than what I'm calling. You use your breath to make your movement. Last one in, empty. Feet to your hands, half lift, fold, chair pose, fold, half lift, chaturanga. Make space for the pause, then up dog, downward facing dog, right side warrior 1. Inhale to rise, chaturanga on the exhale, upward facing, down dog, left side, step, reach, touch the peak of the pose at the top. Go on your exhale, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Breath in and empty. Fill up, empty out. Nice, last one in. Empty, feet to your hands, half lift, fold. Chair pose, fold, half lift, chaturanga. Really nice, making space for the pause. Up dog, down dog, right side warrior 1. Press your big toe mounds down as you rise. Chaturanga. Upward facing, down dog, step through on the pause, left side. Inhale, reach, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Breath in, let it go. Lift your right leg all the way up behind you. Bend and open your knee right away. Hip way open. Press through your right hand. And now lift your knee 3 more inches. Can you stretch a little further? Stay here or flip your dog. Both feet land on 12 o'clock here right away. So Ryan and everyone, bring your toes a little closer together. Yeah, your heels are perfect. Yes, just like that. Feet are parallel to the sides of your mat. Press down and lift. Both hands down, side plank, right side. Flip on over. Right hand down, left hand lifted. Choose a knee down, a leg lifted. Whatever intensity makes this feel like this is your pose. Yes, side plank is your thing right now. Breathe into it. Last one in. Chaturanga on your exhale. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up behind you. Press it all the way back, then bend and open the hip. Press through your left hand and lift your heel and your knee another 3 inches. Stay or flip. Start to create your wheel body here. This is where some yogis take it, so maybe you can start to feel what that might be like in your own body. Press your heels down into the floor. Take your gaze to the front of your mat. Nice. Last breath. Both hands down, side plank, left side. Left arm down, right arm lifted. And then here we are again in your favorite pose, side plank. Treat it like it's your favorite pose, right? How might you express all the way through your fingers and your toes? 2 more breaths. Last one in, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear it out. Step your right foot forward, crescent lunge. All sorts of ways to take this pose. You decide if the knee is down or lifted. And then lift up all the way from your pelvis to your crown. Straighten out your elbows. Reach for the ceiling like there's something up there you want to touch. Hands to heart center. Twist to your right. Nice breath. Now organize it with your movement. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale to twist. Lengthen with your inhale. Twist it all the way out. Last one in. Empty completely. Crescent lunge. Warrior 2. Front foot parallel to the long side of your mat. And then check out your front knee here. We want it tracking straight over your middle toe. So for a lot of us, we're going to actually be pressing that knee out toward the right. Nice drishtis, one spot in front of you. Sink down a little bit lower. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, reach all the way back, extend your leg, give it a break. Extended side angle, fingertips down to the floor in front of your foot or to a block. In fact, for most of us here, the block is going to be extra helpful as it's going to allow you to keep the length all along the right side of your body. In case you want one for later in the class. One more big breath in. Chaturanga on your exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Empty out. Left foot crescent lunge. Set up your feet right away. They can be nice and wide if that's where it keeps your balance. Press both sides of your back foot into the floor, the baby toe mound side and the big toe mound side. Can you sink down a little bit lower? Nice, then lift from the belly button up to the sternum. Take your gaze to the ceiling, reach for it. Hands to heart center, twist to your left. And as soon as that elbow makes contact, go ahead and press in. You can use all that leverage to crank the twist, open your chest toward the ceiling. Maybe your gaze moves toward the ceiling. And then organize your breath around your body. Inhale, lengthen, twist it out. Lengthen, twist it out, out, out. Crescent lunge, warrior two. Nice breath. Keep it working. On every inhale, see if there's somewhere in your body you can lift. And on every exhale, maybe there's just a little hugging into center. With the drishti and the breath in place, you can stay here forever. So take another 2 more breaths. Flip your front palm, reverse it, reach all the way back, extend your front leg. Now extended side angle, fingertips to that front arch, to the floor or to the block. And then start to create the length here on the left side of your body. All the way from your shoulders to your hip. Right here, can you create more space? Yes. So Alex, just by creating more space, was able to turn his chest another 3 or 4 degrees toward the ceiling. Hold it. Get full. Chaturanga as you exhale. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Empty out. Feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Sink low, reach high. Gather up all the length on both sides of your body. Lifting everything up to your ears. Hands to heart center. Twist to your right. And we're here for a few breaths. So if you want to take this into a side crow, a bird of paradise, some other inversion you like to place here, go there. Take your drishti with you as you rise up, birds. Press through your heel for 2 more breaths. Last one. Empty. Chair pose. Fold. Fingers to toes, forward fold. Wrap your peace fingers around your big toes. And take your rest here. Let your head drop. All the wrinkles out of the back of your neck. And you can let your shoulders round. Release your toes. Inhale, chair. Sit low, reach high. Get all the length. Inhale to get even taller. Hands to heart center, twist to your left. Take this where you want to take it. Those of us staying in chair, feel for even hips here. So one indicator of that would be looking down at your knees and seeing that they're both headed straight forward like headlights. Sit your hips a little lower and then lift your chest 2 inches higher. Stay with your breath in and twist. Inhale, chair, fold. Palms to toes, forward fold, gorilla pose. So this time the backs of the hands go on the mat, and then we'll step onto the palms. Bend your knees a lot to make that happen. Drop your head. Yeah, give it a little shake. Yes, no, and on a yes. Release your feet, crow pose. And you're all yogis who have done this a bunch of times before, so you know where you like to go. Go for the crow, go for goddess squat, or take it into an inversion. Squeeze into your center line here. So hands on the floor, knees out. Yeah, squeeze your knees into your elbows and press your elbows out into your knees. You've got 2 feet off the floor. Love it. Fantastic, Eli. 2 more breaths. Chaturanga on your exhale. Step or hop back. That was incredible. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Let it out. Move your feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Eagle pose. Right arm under, right leg over. Have a seat. Now, if the hands aren't quite getting all the way around for the wrap, press the backs of your hands together. What's more important here is that squeezing into the center line rather than what the fold looks like. 2 more breaths. Switch sides. Left arm under, left leg over. Set your drishti first. Drishti comes first on our list of power tools for a reason. Once that's in place, everything else can come. If the drishti is missing, just about everything is. So plant your eyes. Switch sides. Right arm under, right leg over. Sink down into your hips. Press your standing foot into the floor. So you've got that balanced action of sitting down, but you want to stand back up at the same time. Unwind, airplane. Send your foot all the way back. Dial your lifted toes down toward the mat. Yeah, nice even hips. Keep your leg extended all the way. Take all the bend out of your knee. Open up half moon. Fingertips to the floor or the block, super helpful. And then as much as you can, press back through your lifted leg. That's going to give you so much extra stability. And when you don't think you can press anymore, press even more. Yes, flex your feet. Let it go. Both feet to the mat. Shake it out. Come all the way to stand, tippy top of your mat. Left arm under, left leg over, eagle pose. Sit into it. And once your drishti set, add the breath. 2 more. Smooth out the top of the exhale. Airplane. Reach all the way back for your feet. Yeah, and then lift your chest. We want that airplane to fly up into the sky, not down into the ground. So take your drishti to where you want to go, way out in front of your mat. Extend your leg even further. Pull the pit of the belly in. Half moon. Yeah, let that top hip open all the way up. Stack it right over top of your right hip. So the front side of your pelvis is open toward the wall. Last breath in. Both feet down. Shake it out. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, extended mountain. We'll take dancer on the right. So catch the inside of your right leg. And you may even start here just with the quad stretch. So you're going to get the most out of that, pushing the pelvis forward a little bit. And then your knee is facing straight down toward the floor, might even be connected to the other knee. From there, press it straight back. Knee toward the floor the whole way back. Be in your breath and with that one spot you're looking at. Take one more breath in. Switch on your exhale. Dance it to the left. Start with the quad stretch to begin. So soft part of your elbow faces out, thumb toward the ceiling. Knee down toward the floor, pelvis forward so you can feel the stretch. And then press your foot all the way back. Yeah, and you might actually reach your hand back behind you like you want to shake somebody's hand. So this part of your elbow, yes, just like that, and catch the inside. Do you feel how that opens up the shoulder a little bit? A little bit. Give it 2 or 3 more breaths. Let it land. See what's there. Release on your exhale. Shake it out. Extended mountain at the top of your mat. Take a reset. Tree pose, right side. Place your foot anywhere on the inside of your left leg, except for the inside of your knee, so below or above. Set your gaze on that one place, and then express. Arms out however you like. Make it big. Make it expressive, all the way out to your fingertips. Keep your gaze on that one spot. Switch sides. And then again, anywhere but the inside of your knee, even toes on the floor is a really great option. Pull the pit of your belly in, so that space right below your belly button. Can you activate those muscles and lift up to get taller? All the way out to your fingertips for one more breath. Both feet down. Inhale, extended mountain at the top of your mat. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, step or hop back, high plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side triangle. Step your right foot all the way to the front of your mat. And then we'll set up the feet first. So heels to the floor. Front foot is parallel to the long side of your mat. Back foot parallel to the short side of your mat. Reach both sides of your body to your ears as you start to hinge forward here. So just as we were in extended side angle, you're creating more length here on the right side of your body. Side facing wide leg forward fold. Toes to the left side of your mat. Take a really wide stance and then simply fold. If you'd like to take an inversion here, some lunges, go for it. Here in the fold, unlock your knees so you can press down into the floor. Inversions, make your way down. Get complete side to side. On your next inhale, rise all the way to stand. Namaste, front facing forward fold. So mini warrior one stance toward the front of your mat. You'll choose a bind wherever you want to be, traditional namaste bind, or you could grab the other elbow. And then we're just going to hinge forward. Lift your shoulders up toward the ceiling. Let your drishti be down toward the floor here in the fold so you can have a long back of your neck, and then the rest of your spine can be just as long. Twist your triangle. Left arm down, right arm to the T or toward the ceiling. Pull your shoulders together on your back. Yeah, nice adjustment, Chuck. Sometimes all that means is getting up a little higher on the block. Let your fingertips get light. One more big breath in. Chaturanga on your exhale. We'll meet in down dog, my splits, however you want to get there. Left side triangle. Step your left foot all the way forward. Little bend in both knees. Nice, and then your legs are way longer than you think. You could bring your front foot all the way up to here. Yeah, and that gives you a little bit more access to the fold. Press down through the outer edge of your back foot. Side facing wide leg forward fold. Toes to the right side of your mat. And then if you want to take this into another inversion, go for it. You might even take the bind behind your back, fingers interlaced. Let your shoulders and your hands reach forward. Unlock your knees and bring some weight back into your heels. Release your bind, come all the way to stand. Namaste, front facing forward fold, left foot forward. Set it up wide and a little shorter maybe than you think. Feel where the hips are and then take your fold. Sometimes I even like to rest my hands in my bind closer to the hips, just for that proprioception to feel where they are in space. Friends, here in splits, lift the front of your pelvis up towards your belly button so you can lengthen all the way up through your sternum. Everyone, lift your shoulders up to your ears, straight back onto your back, and pull them down towards your hips. Twist your triangle. If you're working in splits here, twisted splits sometimes sounds like, yeah, that's a thing that could happen, but not yet. I know that's how I feel in mine. So simply move your gaze to one side, see what parts of the body might want to follow. Last big breath in. Chaturanga on your exhale. We'll meet at the down dog. You choose how you get there. Love that big sigh here in the down dog. Let it out. Roll yourself all the way out to a high plank. Lower all the way to your belly onto the mat. Locust pose. Press your hips down. Lift your chest and your toes maybe a few inches off the mat. We want to go for length here. So all the way from your feet to the back of your head, how long can you get? Last breath. Lower down, right cheek to the mat, windshield wiper your feet side to side. Locust pose, press down, lift up. If you're looking for a bit more intensity, you could take the arms all the way out, maybe reach them forward. If you've got a bind behind your back, lift it up into the air. Yes. Give it 2 more breaths. And then lower all the way down. Feet side to side. Floor bow. Your choice if you want to do both legs or one leg at a time. You're going to grab for an ankle inside or outside. Press your shins all the way back. Let the work happening in your legs be where the power in this pose comes from. Let your shoulders go. Lower all the way down. Feet side to side. Floor bow number 2. Opposite leg or both legs again. Before you go up this time, squeeze your knees together first. And then lift your belly button up. On your next inhale, rise from there. Keep the knees squeezing together and the belly button pulling in and up. 2 more breaths. Last one in. Lower all the way down. Let's take 3 little baby cobras here. So place your hands right underneath of your shoulders. And on an inhale, we'll lift up just a few inches. Exhale, lower down. 2 more like that. Fill up, lift up, and empty. Last one. Fill up, lift up, reach your chest forward, and lower down. Move your hands back a few inches, upward facing dog. Press all the way up, downward facing dog. Camel pose, knees to the floor. We got just one camel tonight, so stand up on your knees. We'll work with the shoulders here. So place your hands where you want to have them. And then before you go back, lift your shoulders up to your ears, straight back onto your back, and then pull them down towards your hips. With all that space, lift your chest up. Even fuller inhales. Yeah, support it with your belly, pull it in and up. On an inhale, rise up and out. Sit back on your heels for high hero. Toes tucked if you want a little stretch. And then let's move to bridge pose. Bring the feet all the way around, flat on your back, knees to the ceiling. Set your drishti here right away. You know what's coming, a few bridges, maybe a few wheels. So let's get ready to ignite. Get your breath ready, get your drishti ready. And on your next inhale, rise up, bridge pose number 1. Press everything that's touching the floor down into the floor. And then feel in your body here, if the knees are splaying out, bring them a little closer to center. Lower down on an exhale. Bridge pose number 2, rise up. Let the work here come from your feet. Press your heels down. And then unsqueeze your glutes. On your next exhale, lower all the way down. We've got 4 more back bends. Bridge, wheel, you decide. Set your drishti. On an inhale, rise for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, breath in and out. Inhale, rise. Number 2 for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, breath in and out. Number 3, rise up. Check out your feet here, still on 12 o'clock. John and Paul, bring your toes closer together. Yes, lower down, breath in, breath out. Last one, press down, rise up. Stick your feet to the floor. Yeah, and you've got all this extra stability here. John, don't let me scare you. I'm going to place my hands right here. Squeeze in. Yes, just like that. Keep squeezing. Resist me. For 3, 2, 1, lower down. Supta Baddha Konasana, soles together, knees wide. Place a hand on your belly, a hand on your heart. And notice your breath here. Dead bug, feet to the ceiling. Grab the outsides of your feet or the backs of your thighs. Whichever one lets you keep your hips and your shoulders heavy on the floor. Rock side to side if that would feel good. Feet all the way up. We've made it. Stability, the best part of class. Lower your right leg halfway down toward the mat. Press through both feet. On your exhale, switch feet. Let your breath create the pace. And then as much as you can, lift and spread your toes. Keep pressing through your heels. Adding a little bend to the knee if that's what's needed to keep your low back on the floor. Complete your sides, feet all the way up. Lower them 30 degrees toward the mat. 30 degrees more. Hover them 2 inches above the mat. Take a look at your toes. Send them all the way back up. Exhale, lower 30. 30 degrees more. All the way down toward the floor. Flutter kick for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send them up. Last one, lower 30. 30 more. Feet toward the floor. Take a look. Pendulum swing side to side. Pull your belly button in tight. Send them back up. Hug your knees. Little rock side to side. Abdominal twists. Stack your knees over top of your hips. Elbows out wide. Opposite elbow to opposite knee. Let your breath create the pace. Keep some space here between your chin and your chest. Elbows super wide. Make the twist bigger for another 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees. Roll like a ball forward and back 3 times, all the way up to boat pose. All the way up on your sit bones. Reach your hands forward. You've got it in you. Squeeze your knees a little closer together and breathe for 5. Breath 4. Breath 3. Breath 2. Last one in. Hug them. Rock back and forth. Right side half pigeon. On your belly, on your back, however you want to get there. On your belly is going to look like bringing your right knee towards your right wrist with your ankle somewhere over toward the left. On your back, you could take that figure 4 shape. So many choices. And then you get to customize from here. So those of us with our belly on the floor, take your drishti back to your hips to feel where they are in space. For a lot of us, what tends to happen here is we'll feel that we're really leaning into one hip. And what you can do for that is take a block, if you'd like, and you can place it, I've got one right here for you, right underneath your hip. And that is going to give you a little bit more support to stay lifted. So there's less work for you to do. Switch sides. And then once you're in the general shape, Do that same little body scan. Bring your focus and attention to where your hips are in space. And we know one side of the body is always way different than the other, so feel if there's any support needed on this side, or maybe this side doesn't need any at all. Lengthen the pauses here between your breath. There's less cardiovascular pull here, so you can linger in those pauses a little longer. See what you feel. What is there to discover in that space you're creating for yourself? Swing your right leg all the way around, seated single leg extension. Extend your right leg all the way in front of you. Left leg bends in like tree pose. On an inhale, lift your body really tall. Get up on the top of your sit bones. Then start to hinge forward. See if you can really take this from your hips. So take a really big bend in your knee. If you're not reaching your toes all the way, or it's not feeling like you're getting a stretch, bend the knee. As big or a little bend as you need. Release your toes, gates pose. Plant your left hand behind you, reaching the hips to the ceiling and the gaze all the way back. Give it a big stretch. Hips to the floor. Left side seated single leg extension. Left leg extends, right leg in. Start with that big bend in the knee, get tall, and then fold forward. And then even if you're starting to feel here, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I can get down here without a bend in the knee. And sometimes you get there and you feel a little stuck. So place at least a tiny bend in the knee. That way you have the ability to press your heel forward. And then the stretch is in the muscles where it belongs rather than in the back of the knee joint. Release your toes, gates pose. This time, opposite hand comes behind. Plant it and lift, reach and stretch. Both hips down, seated forward fold. Both legs out front. Take the big bend to start with. Get as tall as you can, then fold. Can let your back get round here. Drop your head. Maybe you can feel the stretch coming all the way up the back body into your forehead, possibly even between your eyebrows. Release your toes, tabletop or reverse plank. Feet into the floor, fingertips towards your heels, lift your pelvis and your chest all the way up. Maybe the head drops back. Come all the way down to the floor. Let's go for fish pose. Grab for your block. And we're going to place it lengthwise, right down between the shoulder blades. This block is probably going to be more comfortable than the one I gave you if you want to use it. Yeah, and let it feel good. So let your hips be heavy on the floor and let your shoulders melt down. Yeah, you got it. Let your breath get a little easier here. Staying with that organization of all four parts, the inhale, the pause, the exhale, the pause. With a little less cardiovascular pull here, you'll probably find that your breath can be a bit longer, a bit easier. Roll to your right side to release your props or your elbows. And let's get upside down. Headstands, handstand, shoulder stand, waterfall, however you want to do it. We're just going to get our feet above the hips, maybe the hips above the heart. Flex your feet here and press them toward the ceiling. These inversions, this Venus return we get from the blood coming out of our legs and back toward the rest of the body, so many benefits. And we get even more benefits when the legs are active. So can you pull in skin to muscle to bone? Almost as if, I don't know, maybe you're balancing another person on top of your feet. How strong do your legs have to be to do that? And then let it get easy. If you're in the shoulder stand and you want to take a split, maybe one way or the other, kind of let the legs do some things, go in some different directions than they usually go when we're upright. Headstands and handstands make your way to your mat. Shoulder stands and waterfalls can move to plow. Then from plow to deaf yogi, bring your knees down around your ears. And roll all the way out onto your mat. Supine twist to the right. Hug your knees to center. Drop them to your right side. Create a stacking in your hips here. So it's one on top of the other. We want every pose from here until the end of class to be 100% restful. There's no more work left to do. Let your breath become easy, longer, and quieter. Swing your knees to the left. You're welcome. Everyone in studio has a lavender scented cold towel. Feel free to reach for that when you're ready for it. Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet come together. Knees splay wide. And we'll take 2 final clearing breaths here together. Fill up through your nose. Side out your mouth. And another fill. Shavasana. Take any final movements or adjustments that you need to feel like you are completely supported by the floor. I'll share with you today's journey to the heart passage titled Listen to Your Inner Voice. Our inner voice, that quiet guide within, will lead us along our path, will help us create our destiny, and will keep us in harmony. So much stress comes from not listening, not trusting our inner voice. So much confusion comes from trying to act before we have been heard and before we have been guided. So much pain comes when we deny what our voice is saying, when we try to run from it, or when we try to make it go away. We wonder, how can we trust ourselves? The better question is, how can we not trust ourselves? Our rage, anger, and most bitter resentments occur when we trust others rather than ourselves. The universe is alive, magical, responsive, and will guide us on our way. But the answer must always resonate, must always ultimately come from that place within. Sometimes we need to listen to others until we become impassioned enough to hear and trust ourselves. It takes practice. This quiet practice of listening until we learn how to hear ourselves. Then to learn to interpret what we hear. It is neither wasted time nor incidental to our lives to learn how to hear ourselves, to learn to tune into our own hearts and souls. Our best work, our finest moments, our joy happens when we're centered, listening to, and trusting ourselves. They happen when we allow ourselves to be fully, completely, and in love with who we are. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring some movement back to your fingers and your toes, wrists and ankles. Rock to your right side for infant's pose. Let your shoulders and your hips be heavy, supported by the floor beneath you, just as you are supported by the community around you. Press your hand in the floor to make it up to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed or drishti settled right in front of your nose. On an inhale, we'll reach for the ceiling. Hands come to heart center. And we'll end with one Om together. Breath in. Thumb knuckles to forehead center. We bow and acknowledge each other. Thank you each for showing up for yourselves, for each other. It would not have been the same class without you. Namaste. Great work, yogis. Online friends, thank you for inviting us into your space. So good to have you tonight. Thank you, yogis, for making it out. With the good weather, you literally could have been anywhere you wanted to be today. So I appreciate you showing up. If you borrowed a mat, leave it on the floor. Props, if you could place them on the floor somewhere up here by the front wall. That way I know which ones need to be wiped down